Jai Shri Krishna. I've gone live on YouTube just now. Let me attempt Facebook Live also this time. Last time I, for some reason, couldn't work on that. It's not even showing me that. It's okay.
Want to wait for a couple of minutes, Guru, before starting?
We can start maybe another 3-4 minutes. I think
Yeah.
Yes. You're looking lovely, Guru.
Thank you. Actually, this was Sudhaji's thinking. She was asking, like, because it's the golden fish, should we wear gold color? I said, okay. I assumed that she's, discussed with everybody. Then realized that she's not in today.
Yeah, we had thought because it's blue, so we thought we'll all go blue today.
Blue.
Okay.
That's what she said. Blue.
Okay. Wow.
And in fact, this time we kind of sat down and simplified the whole thing. So anyone who's taking on from next month also will find it a little more easier to carry on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, just recording the whole thing because of connectivity and other issues. So we thought we just record the whole thing. So it's like easier,
Yeah. In fact, I was just telling Sujata Bhaini before you were joining, like, it's a brilliant idea to, have the rishis sit right next to the waters. And it really looked like, because of the curvature, it looked like it was a ship. And
yeah,
that
it
was
was
brilliant.
Sujata's favorite place, the pool. So she said, let's go there.
Yeah.
Start off on anything, Guru. Actually, Bhagavan really leads us. I want to tell at the end of the meeting what exactly happened, So it's fascinating because we don't know when we start what we're going to be doing, right? So it's just best to be just to surrender.
Exactly. Surrender is the key. In fact, Matsya Avataram itself speaks of that only, na? It's all about surrender, yeah.
And things just fell into place.
Falls in place, no?
Sujata, all our people have joined, Sujata, our classmates?
No, not everybody yet. Shall I put everybody on mute only right from the beginning? So
Yeah. Can you do that, please?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, and then you can unmute.
Namaste, Ratiji. Namaste, Raji Bhaini. Namaste.
Have we started now? Now can we start the recording, Guru? I think it's about 5 minutes. Shall we start, Sujata?
Yes.
Yeah. Namaste. Good morning to everyone. I think we'll get the morning started. Bala?
Yes, ma'am, I'm playing.
Namaste, Sarvesam Suprabhatam. We are the students of Guru Praveena Anand from Singapore, and we very warmly welcome you to this very beautiful morning. We're happy to announce that we have crossed 1 year of a Gyananidhi series, and today is actually also a celebration of that. What started off a year and a half about some of us wanting to learn the Sanskritam language and maybe some little spoken Sanskritam has evolved into something very, very beautiful today. Apart from our regular classes that Praveena Guru imparts to us, we have also done our first level, we have done our Pravesha exam, and all of us have done very well in that. In fact, very well. And we've moved on to the next level of Parichaya. Other than that, every month we have the Gyananidhi series, which is, I can't even tell you how fantastic it is. Praveena Guru is like an ocean of knowledge for us, and then she imparts different aspects of Puranams and everything, all the ancient knowledge to us. And through the Gyananidhi series, we are able to appreciate what has been given to us by all our ancestors. And this is our very small contribution from our group when we present our Gyananidhi series to you all. And of course, this is like a dakshinam for our Guru, because I think for whatever she has done for us, this is something that we give it back to in a very small measure. I would like to say that we've also done in the past, we've done a Ramanubhavam, we have done our Krishna Anubhavam, and now we move on to a very brand new series called the Dasavataram. And today is the first of the series, and today we start off with the Matsya Avataram. I've always felt that I would like to, sometime, relate all these stories to my grandchildren. And I think this is one opportunity that I get when I learn from Praveena Guru. All the nuances and all the beautiful little stories from the Ramayanam or the Puranas. And for us at Chennai, we all come together as a fun group when we put up our Gyananidhi. It's also a great sense of friendship and bonding, and we almost behave as if we've gone back to school or college. We come together, we put our costumes together, and then we meet 1 or 2 days, and then we make a video, and it's beautiful. I think this is like an extension of a friendship into the Gyananidhi. At the onset, I would like to thank everyone who has been a part of this all through the year, not just for this particular series. All our students at Chennai, and again Renu, who doesn't live in Chennai, but she's very much a part of it. Everyone contributes so much in every kind of way. And also I would like to start off by saying nothing is possible without a whole lot of people coming together. And we have Kiran, who's from Savera, our EDP department, who is also so involved with everything. And then he's the one who helps us to put everything together. He compiles everything and adds on the music and makes it a very, very beautiful product. This time, Kiran is assisted by his assistant Bala. So I would like to thank them for this video today. And like I said, I would like to start off again by thanking our Guru Praveena for all the knowledge that she imparts to us, and for guiding us at every step with everything in our series. And of course, my very good friend Sujata. We do a whole lot of things together. And this is one more subject which is very close to our heart, and then she's there with me at every step. Thank you, Sujata, for the video and for getting everything going and putting everything in the right perspective for me. Anu Agarwal, another good friend. She is never too tired for Gyananidhi or for Sanskritam. So she very willingly comes for every video recording and for every enactment that we do. Thank you, Anu. Thank you so much for always being there for me. This particular video, we also have Raj, the only man in the group, and he very willingly comes, and then he dresses up for any of the video and is always willing to come at even the last minute call that he gets from me. My very good friend Kavita from many years. Our kids have grown up together, and we have a very special bond. Kavi, thank you very much for every one of the videos that you have been here, and especially for this. We also have for this series, we have Rekha Reddy and Suma, who are extremely sweet, and whatever you give it to them, they're willing to do it. So I would like to thank Rekha and Suma for being with us. And I go on to my Bhajan Guru Kala for rendering a beautiful bhajan, and you will be listening to that soon after this. And thank you, Raj, and Sudha for asking the relevant questions. Renu, Lakshmi, you will be doing the shlokas for the series, and thank you very much. You're not here, but you've sent your shlokas beautifully rendered, and I would like to thank every one of you who's been a part of this. Other than this, my two right and left hands, Kumar from Savera, who helps us to put the costumes together, and in fact this time he's also taken a little role in the video. And I don't know, I can't do without my Indu, my right hand for everything, and she is fantastic with the coordination. At this point of time, it will not be complete if I do not thank my driver Raj Kumar, because he is the one who carries everything up and down. So also a thank you to my driver Raj Kumar. I think a life is not complete if you are not offering gratitude, and if you're not aware that you are not alone. You need a whole lot of people along with you. So each and every person who is with me in this lifetime, and I think I'm so grateful for each one of them. Let me get down to today's Jnana Nidhi. It is about the Dasavataram, and we would like to take it at one go. We will start off with Kala Guru's bhajan. After that, we go on to the narration by Sujata, who's going to give us a gist of everything what Matsya Avataram is all about. And then we go on to Lakshmi, who will do the first sloka rendition. And then we have Renu doing it. And then we move on to our Guru, who will be answering some of the questions which will be put forward by Raj, and by Sudha. So there's lots to look forward to this morning. So let us just sit back and enjoy the morning. Namaskar.
सृष्टि सृजन के काज हितारत सत्यव्रत करते पुरुषारत आए हरि करम को सहाया नागराज संग करी उपाया बांध के वासुकी जलयाना खींचे मत्स्य रूपी भगवाना बांध के वासुकी जलयाना खींचे मत्स्य रूपी भगवाना ले चले जम्बूद्वीप होरा होते पराजित परलय घोरा ले चले जम्बूद्वीप होरा होते पराजित परलय घोरा नारायण 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 महावतारा मत्स्या कथं वदामि तव महिमा महावतारा मत्स्या कथं वदामि तव महिमा वेदरक्षक ज्ञानदायक साङ्ख्ययोग विधाता नमो नमः दाता नमो नमः सप्तऋषीणां स्वामी नमो नमः सर्वसृष्टिसुबीजान नमो नमः सप्तऋषीणां स्वामी नमो नमः सर्वसृष्टिसुबीजान नमो नमः मत्स्याय नित्याय शुद्धाय मुक्ताय मत्स्याय नित्याय शुद्धाय मुक्ताय नारायण 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 नमो नमस्ते.
Namaskaram. Chapter 24 of Srimad Bhagavatam describes the incarnation of Vishnu, Matsya Avatar, first of the 10 avatars. This combines two Leelas of Bhagwan, the Pralaya of the previous Yug and the Shrishti of the next Yug. Manu are supposed to be the rulers of earth, and we call them Manu Bhagwan. A great devotee of Lord Vishnu, Raja Satyavrata, was doing his morning rituals at the banks of the river Kritamala, what we call Vaigai today in Madurai. While King Satyavrata was performing his morning rituals, offering water on the bank of the river, a small fish appeared in his palms. Satyavrata king threw the fish back into the river because, with the feeling of ahimsa param dharma, with an appealing voice, the small poor fish said to King Satyavrata, "My dear king, protector of the poor, why are you throwing me in the water of the river, where there are other bigger aquatic animals who can kill me? I am very afraid of them." To please himself, King Satyavrata, not knowing that the fish was the supreme personality of Godhead, decided with great pleasure to give protection, and he put him into his kamandal, the small water pot what he was carrying, and he brought him to his own palace. But in one night, that fish grew up so much he could not fit comfortably into that pot. He then spoke to king as follows: "O my dear king, I do not like living in this water pot with such great difficulty. Therefore, please find some better place where I can live comfortably." Then, taking the fish out of the water pot, the king threw him in a large well. But within a moment, the fish developed to the length of 3 cubits. The fish then said, "My dear king, this reservoir of water is not fit for me. Please give me a more extensive pool of water, for I have taken shelter of you." The king took the fish from the well and threw him into a lake, but the fish then assumed a gigantic form exceeding the extent of the water. The fish then said, "O king, I am a large aquatic, and this water is not suitable for me. Now kindly find some way to save me. It would be better to put me in the water of a lake that will never reduce." When thus requested, King Satyavrata took the fish to the largest reservoir of water. But when that also proved insufficient, the king at last threw the gigantic fish into the ocean. When being thrown in the ocean, the fish said to the king, "Satyavrata, in this water there are powerful and dangerous sharks that will eat me. Therefore, you should not throw me in this place." After hearing these sweet words from the Supreme Personality Godhead in the form of a fish, the king was bewildered and asked, "Who are you, sir? you simply bewilder me. You are my Lord Vishnu. Please give me your Agnya. O Lord, in one day you have expanded yourself to hundreds of miles, covering the water of the river and the ocean. Before this, I had never seen or heard of such an aquatic animal. My Lord, you are certainly the inexhaustible, supreme personality of Godhead. Narayana Shri Hari. It is to show your mercy of the living entities that you have assumed the form of an aquatic. Listening to his devotee, finally, God responded as follows. He said, O king, who can subdue your enemies? On the seventh day from today, the three worlds, Bhuva, your world, Bhuvaha and Swaha, will all merge into the water of inundation. When all three worlds merge into the water, recreation has to happen, and you will be playing a major role. A large boat sent by me will appear in front of you. Therefore, O king, collect all types of seeds and herbs and put them onto this great boat. Then, accompanied by 7 rishis, you shall aboard this boat. And as knowledge transfer is the essence of sustenance, safety of the Saptarishis will be in your hands. Then, as the boat is tossed about by the powerful winds, attach this vessel to my horns by means of the great serpent Vasuki of Shiva, for I shall be present by your side. Pulling the boat with you and all the rishis in it, O king, I shall travel in the water of devastation until the night of the Lord Brahma's slumber is over and new creation happens after the deluge. Thereafter, gigantic clouds pouring incessant water swelled the ocean more and more. Thus the ocean began to overflow onto the land and inundate the entire world. As Satyavrata remembered the order of the Supreme Lord, he saw a boat coming near him. Thus he collected herbs and creepers, and accompanied by saintly Brahmanas, he got aboard the boat. The saintly Brahmanas, being pleased with the king, said to him, O king, please meditate upon Bhagwan, Keshava. He will save us from this impending danger and arrange for our well-being. Then, while the king constantly meditated upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a large golden fish appeared in the ocean of inundation. The fish had one horn and was 8 million miles long. Following the instructions formally given by Bhagwan, the king anchored the boat to the fish horn using serpent Vasuki as a rope. Thus, being satisfied, he began offering namaskaras to the Lord. That boat went on for a huge span of time, and the entire Sankhya was explained by Bhagwan to Satyavrata. As we say, Bhagavad Gita was explained to Arjuna by Krishna. The entire Sankhya was explained to Satyavrata Manu and the Saptarishis by Bhagwan himself as the Matsya Avataram. As Brahma was getting up and seeing all this, he started creation once again. Bhagwan had given the Vedas to Brahma for recreation of everything. Brahma tries to meditate on all the Vedic mantras and he creates 4 small babies, each representing a Veda. In the meantime, a big Asura appears, and the Asura is called Haigriva. He has the face of a horse. This Asura was actually the first Asura, and he took all the 4 babies and went into the deep sea. Bhagwan, after putting this boat to safety, as he was in the fish form, goes into the water and he tries to revive and recollect all the 4 babies from this asura, and he gives them back to Brahma for Shishti and goes back to Tapasya. Satyavrata king takes birth as Vaivasata Manu, and he is our king. When we are doing our Sankalpa today, we mention Vaivasata Manu. So, Matsya Avatara is the seed for what we are having today.
सर्वेषां सुप्रभातः मम नाम लक्ष्मी अहम् इदानीं दशावतारस्तोत्रं वदामि. The salutations to the Acharya Swami Vedanta Deshika who authored the stotra. Shriman Venkatanatharyah Kavitarkika Keshari Vedanta Acharya Varhyo Me Sannidattam Sada Hridi. Shri Dasavataram Stotram. Devo nah shubhamatanotu dashadha nirvartayan bhumika range dhamani labdha nirbhara rasaihi radyakshito bhavukaihi yad bhaveshu prudakvideshvanugunan bhavan swayam vibhrati यद्धर्मैरिह धर्मणि विहरते नानाकृतिर्नायिका, which means, may the Lord, who putting on 10 different roles and playing on the stage at Sri Rangam and watched by enlightened audience, those are devotees who have attained the acme of bliss, bestow welfare on us. In his diverse forms, he is accompanied by his consort, who is goddess Lakshmi, who assumes suitable forms with matching qualities and sports with him.
Nirmagna Shruti Jala Margandasha Datta Shanair Vikshanaihi Antastan Vadivara Vindagahana Yodanvati Namapam Nishpratyuha Tarangaringanamita Pratyudha Pataschata Dolaroha Sadohalam Bhagavato Matsyam Vapahu Patunaha Dolaroha Sadohalam Bhagavato Matsyam Vapahu Patunaha. May the fish form of the Lord, which creates as it were forests of lotuses in the inner depths of the ocean by quick darting glances in the course of the search for the submerged Vedas, and which seems to rejoice ascending the unobstructed swinging of undulating, mutually clashing billows. Protect us. Namaste Purusha Sreshtha Sthityutpatyapyayeshwara Bhaktanam Nah Prapannanam Mukhyo Hyatmagatir Vibho. O my Lord, Master of creation, maintenance and annihilation, O best of enjoyers, Lord Vishnu, you are the leader and destination of surrendered devotees like us. Therefore, let me offer my respectful obeisances to you. Pralaya payasi dhatuhu sukta shakter mukhebhyaha Shruti-ganam apanitam pratyupadatta hatva Ditijam akathayadayo brahma satyavratanam Tam aham akhila hetum jihamaminam natosmi. I offered my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who pretended to be a gigantic fish, who restored the Vedic literature to Lord Brahma when Lord Brahma awakened from sleep, and who explained the essence of Vedic literature to King Satyavrata and the great saintly persons.
Guru, now would like the questions and the answers to happen right now, please.
Yeah, before Raji Bhagini starts with the questions, I would say it's an amazing presentation. It was so beautiful to see all of you perform it. And even the subtle things have been implemented in the skit. Earlier it was a small fish, so we saw a small boy. After that, the bigger fish, so bigger person representing the fish. Some plants and so many other small things were kept nearby to say that we are carrying all those things with us. And the Saptarishis were there, Raja Manu was there, so we could see everything. And brilliant idea to do it right beside the water, so it gave a very realistic feel of going on the ship, tying it to Bhagwan, and very, very well projected. So it was very informative. So amazing. I would like to say a big thank you to all of you. Sujata Mundra Bhagini's explanation, compiling the whole thing was so brilliant. And the slokas, Renu Bhagini recited the 8th chapter, the 24th sloka and the 64th sloka, which is a little complicated actually, so she really had, by hearted it, and she recited it. Same with Lakshmi Bhagini. I was amazed with her pronunciation of the Taniyan especially, which was brilliant. Wonderful. Jai Shri Krishna. Raji Bhagini could start with the questions and I'm ready to answer.
Thank you, Praveena. And I once again endorse Guru Praveena's comments. It was an amazing presentation put together by all of you. And so happy to be starting this series on the various avatars and Dashavatara. So Guru, we have all learned right from when we were young that Bhagwan is omnipresent. Even in fact, he's present everywhere and at all times. In fact, in one of our stories in Sanskritam also, we learned Bhagwan sarvatra asti, kutra nasti. But then we also learned that certain forms are being treated as avatars. So why are these avatars special? And also we have learned normally of Dashavatara is what is the primary 10 avatars, but are these the only kind, or are there other avatars as well?
Okay. Avatara is a huge topic. I'll just give a little bit of overview of what we can understand. As we all know, Bhagavan is omnipresent, omnipotent, and in fact, he's present in several different forms. We call it as 5 different forms in which Bhagavan is present, which is called as Para, Vyuha, Vibhava, Antaryami, and Archa. So some of these terms we are actually familiar. Antaryami means Antaha. So Bhagavan is there inside every one of us. So that is one way he is present. Is that the same as Avatara? We say that Bhagavan is there in all the temples. Temples is called as Archa. So he's there in Archavatara. Archa is also an Avatara. Archavatara is one of the ways in which Bhagavan is present. In each one of us, Bhagavan is present as Antaryami. And all these avatars like Rama, Krishna, Narasimha, Matsya, all these are called as Vibhava avatars of the 5 list that I was just mentioning. These are called as the Vibhava avatara. Even in the Vibhava avatara, we classify it into Purna avatara, where Bhagavan himself comes, like the Rama, Krishna, Narasimha. But there are also other avatars where we say Vyasa Bhagavan, Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya. So there, Bhagavan is actually a Avesha, where he gives a lot of his special traits to an extent that even the Vedas could be compiled by Vedavyasa. He is given so much of special capacity to Manu Bhagavan, where he can create the next, entire requirement from the seed to actually bringing it to life in the next entire Manvantara. So we can understand that these are not, regular traits. These are some really special qualities. So that is again a amsha of Bhagavan, because of which they are able to accomplish these things. So that is yet another different kind of avatara, Avesha avatara, Amsha avatara, all this we explain. And in Bhagavata Purana, 24 different avatars are mentioned. And Bhagavan Krishna himself says, the avatars are, unlimited. It is unending avatars. In fact, he tells Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita that Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna. I have undergone so many births. So have you. Because as Jivatmas, even we keep taking repeated births and deaths and births and deaths. We keep going into that cycle, right? But then the difference is Bhagavan takes because he wants to. He's helping us out. He's protecting us. And he says, the reason for my avatara is 3 things. Paritranaya sadhunam, to protect all the sadhus. In fact, to give experiences to them, to help them know that I'm there for them. Vinashaya cha dushkritam, anybody who comes in the way of devotees or honesty or morally right things, anybody who troubles the people who want to do the right thing, vinashaya cha, to correct them by punishing. Bhagavan is not going to let go of anybody. He's still going to do the right thing for them, but in a different way. We handle a very nice kid with sweet thoughts. It's always a stick and a carrot approach. So Bhagavan does that as well. So he punishes whoever needs to be corrected that way. He blesses whoever needs to be blessed that way. Dharma samsthapanaya, he re-establishes dharma. So sambhavami yogi, he takes his avatar periodically. So what we have to understand is innumerable avatars are there, of which 10 are considered as primary, possibly because it's given maximum impact to us, we are able to relate to it. So these 10 avatars are given a lot of significance. We compile it and call it as Dasha Avatara, 10 avatars.
And we also just listened to the Dashavatara Stotram rendered so beautifully by Lakshmi Bhagini and Renu Bhagini. Can you elaborate on what are the benefits of reciting this stotra by Swami Desika?
It's a brilliant stotra, Swami Vedanta Deshika's Dashavatara stotra. Today, what they recited was actually the first and the second sloka of the stotra, which has 13 such slokas. So the first sloka was basically an overview about the entire avatars. And the second sloka, which was recited, is actually the stotra on Matsya Avatara. Now, the beauty of this is in the very first sloka, Swami Vedanta Deshika gives an overview about what this entire avatara is. And he's created a pun where he calls it as a ranga. Ranga means stage. So this entire stotra is recited in Srirangam, which is in Trichy. I can see Raji gleeing. So Trichy Srirangam is the place where this Dashavatara stotra is recited. So Ranga, basically, he says, this stage is the entire cosmos for Bhagavan, and the earth itself is a stage for him. These 10 avatars are where he takes different roles. He's enacting different roles along with his consort Mahalakshmi, where all of us are his audience. That could also mean that in Srirangam, Bhagavan is there, in the form of all the 10 avatars. The deity in the Sriranga Divya Desa is the deity who's seen in the Dashavatara Sanadhi as the 10 deities of Dashavatara. And, this enactment is for all of us to enjoy, relate, learn, adhere to in our life. So that is a beautiful compilation which is given. And usually all of us, when we are in this life struggling with things, people say the effect of this is because of the planets, the graha. Enna graha uchile irukko, they say, the grahas actually impact our life. So the avataras of Bhagavan are supposed to help us get rid of the negative effects created by the grahas. So every avatara is connected to a particular planet, and reciting the stotra will help us ward off the ill effects of the graha. And our elders have actually mapped which particular stotra is for which graha. And by reciting the appropriate stotras, we can benefit ourselves. So if you look at this chart, Matsya Avatara, which we related today, is for Ketu. Similarly, Kurma is for Shani Dasha and other things. Shani Bhagwan holds us. People say it is very difficult. So when we worship Kurma Avatara, we can get rid of the ill effects. Varaha Avatara stotra is recited if we have doshas on Rahu. Narasimha Avatara on Sevai or Mars. Vamana Avatara for Jupiter, Guru. Parashurama for Venus, Shukra. Sri Rama Avatar, we know he belongs to the Surya Vamsha, so Surya. Krishna again is Chandra Vamsi, so Chandra. Kalki is the Buddha. So these are the corresponding, deities for the respective planets. So we can recite the appropriate stotra on the Dashavatara. In fact, elders say that reciting the entire sloka every day helps us with a lot of benefits. In fact, there is one beautiful temple in Srirangam, which I think is very relevant for me to share here. This particular temple is, very close to the Sriranga Divya Desam itself. In fact, Tirumangai Alvar, one of the 12 Alvars, the last of the 12 Alvars, in fact, he has actually constructed the huge outer walls in the Srirangam temple. So initially, just the deity was there. After that, all the surrounding walls was constructed. All those was done by this Alvar, staying in the particular location where Dashavatara Sannidhi is. After that, Bhagavan Ranganatha of Srirangam was very pleased with the service of Tirumangai Alvar. So when the Alvar requested that he wants to see the manifestation of Bhagavan as these avatars, all the vigrahas that we see today in the Dashavatara Sannidhi were supposed to be, automatically visible in that place. They are Swayambhu. They came up themselves and they displayed themselves to Tirumangai Alvar. So Tirumangai Alvar worshipped all of them. He wrote, poetry in Tamil for the Dasavataram. And then he worshipped Bhagavan, saying that, please remain here and bless all those devotees who come here and worship you. So Bhagavan, even today, when we go to Srirangam, we go to the adjacent Dashavatara Sannidhi. That is one place in South India where we can see all the 10 avatars in one place. So, and Swami Deshika has written this 10 stotras on that Dashavatara Sannidhi, on the deities of Dashavatara. I had just captured the pictures of the Dashavatara for you all to have a look at. So this is the Dashavatara deities that we can see in the Dashavatara Sannidhi's temple in Srirangam. So what we see as the Matsya here, this is the Matsya Avataram movie which we discussed.
Yeah. I think, are you sharing screen? That's not started. We are not able to see the screen.
Were you able to see the avatars which I displayed earlier?
No.
Oh, you could not see the avatars?
We saw, this was the last slide. The Avatara and Griha we saw.
Okay. So this is the picture. So this is, these are the deities we actually see inside the Dashavatara Sannidhi, which all came by themselves and they are still there for us to go have a darshan. So anybody, irrespective of which planetary dosha we have, they can go and they can do archana for that particular deity and possibly recite the Dashavatara Stotra of that deity. Some people do Abhisheka also to get rid of the sins which they accrue because of the Graha doshas.
That's very fascinating. In fact, I have seen this Sannidhi, but I did not know that all the sculptures were Shuyambhu themselves. So we heard the entire story narrated by Sujata of the Leelas, 2 Leelas of the Matsya Avatar. Where exactly in Bharatvarsha does this whole Leela take place?
That's again a very, very interesting thing, which, all of us have to act, because it happened very much in South India. That too in what we call as the Dravidian or the Tamil locations today. It was Satyavrata who was ruling over the entire Bhumi. And he was performing all these morning rituals in a river which is called as Kritamala in Sanskritam. In Tamil, we call it as Vaigai Aar. So it was on the banks of Vaigai river that this was performed, which means that it is in Madurai. In fact, there is a Matsya Kshetra where, even today people say that this was the birthplace of Matsya Bhagavan and Matsya Avatara is worshipped. So it is very much in Madurai and it started there. And because the entire world was, in Dilanj, not just Bhumi, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha, all the 3 worlds were actually submerged. Bhagavan took a huge form where everything in its subtle form, in the seed form, could be gathered. He actually lifted this entire earth with his one single horn, along with the Saptarishis, along with the Satyavrata Raja, his wife, everybody, took them to a location which is supposed to be higher than all these three worlds. He went across all the three worlds, higher than the Himalayas, higher than everything we can imagine. And that's how he protected everybody. So the starting location was in Madurai, in the banks of Vaigai River. And all of us should be proud about that. In fact, Tamarabarani is mentioned in Tamarabarani, Nadi, Yasya, Kritamala, Payaswini. All those are mentioned in the Bhagavata Purana, which is all about the different locations across our country. So our country is so ancient.
Thank you, Praveena. Before I hand over to Raj, there is one question which I've received from the audience, from Pramila. She wants to know, why is Hayagriva venerated through an Asura?
Okay. Actually, Hayagriva. Haya means horse. Griva means neck. So it is a name given to anybody who has a horse face, basically. So, for example, Manu means the ruler. So Manava means human beings. All of us here who've taken the birth as humans can be called as Manava. Similarly, Hayagriva means anyone who has the face of a horse. Or, Griva is neck, right? Above the neck, it's horse. So this Asura had taken the form where he had a horse face. Therefore, he was called as Hayagriva. Who is venerated is not this Asura, it is Devam Hayagrivam, where Bhagavan Vishnu, in one of his avatars, had taken the form of Hayagriva, where his breath itself was the Vedas. He actually, rescued all the Vedas from the Rasatala Loka, and he did a Upadesha to Brahma, who is the knowledge bearer of all the 64 knowledge sources that we need to know. So that Bhagavan Hayagriva is different from this Asura Hayagriva. So Hayagriva just means who has a face of a horse above the face. So we actually, it's a good idea to say Asura Hayagriva also, so that we know what we are talking about.
This is one of the questions that Sudha Bhagini also had, and because how do we start all good things with the Hayagriva Stotra if he is actually an Asura? So it's a learning that the Hayagriva Asura is different from the Deva Hayagriva, and it's a common name.
Yeah, in fact, there also, if you notice, Swami Vedanta Deshika very clearly explains, Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmala Spatikakritam Avataram Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe. So the one who is the Adara of all knowledge, that Deva who is like Spatika, he gives all these adjectives. That Deva is who I worship. So that we don't get confused.
Okay. Thank you so much, Praveena, for all that. There are a couple of questions from Raj Mahoday. So over to Raj.
Thank you, Raji. Sarvesham Suprabhadam. So the question I have is, I understand that Matsya Avatara took place in Satya Yuga. So how long ago was Satya Yuga? Do we have some kind of a dating process, like it was 3,000 years ago, 30,000 years ago? And why is Manu considered the first king? And what about all the kings before him?
Okay. One thing which we have to remember is the way our calendar works. Of course, you are a Jyotishagnya, so I know you know about it. The way our calendar works and the way we are used to understanding the time today is quite different, because today we think it's past, present, and future. But when we come to our Sanatana Dharma, our Jyotisha Shastra, the time cycle, we always call it as Kala Chakra. The time is cyclic. Okay. So as you rightly said, we have the yugas, we have the concept of yugas, which is huge. We have the concept of manvantaras, and we have the concept of days of Brahma or the Deva Samaya. All these concepts are there. So we have to understand that this happened during the Chakshusha Manvantara, which happened, in the previous Pralaya, the cycle. The previous cycle was ending, the Pralaya was happening. After the Chakshusha Manvantara, the Vaivasvata Mantara is yet to start. So that is the time where this actually happens. Each Manvantara, now I'm going to give all of you a shocker. Each Manvantara lasts for like 306,720,000 years. Okay, so that's like a huge number. A full day of Brahma can be understood as 2 kalpas. Okay, each kalpa is 4.32 billion years. So 14 Manus rule over this kalpa. Till now, 6 Manus have completed. We are in the 7th Manu. Vaivasvata Manu is supposed to be the 7th Manu. And that is why we are called as Vaivasvata Manvantara. Now, this Manu is supposed to be a progenitor of everybody else. So whoever comes after him, will be through his lineage. So from the Manu, because they are called as, all the humans are born from the Manus. So the kings who belong to the Vaivasvata Manvantara would have been born after the Vaivasvata. All the previous kings would have been born to the previous lineage of the previous Manu. That is the way we understand this cycle. So what is mentioned in the scriptures is Bhagavan creates Brahma. We know from the Nabhi Kamala, Brahma comes. Brahma has the Manasa Putras of Marichi, the 10 Prajapatis. Prajapatis means those who create the Praja Utpatti. Yaha karoti, saha Prajapati. Then Kashyapa Prajapati was the son of Marichi. And through him, we had the Diti, Aditi, the Devas, Asuras, Surya Bhagavan was also there. So Vaivasvata was Surya, who was the son of Kashyapa and Aditi. Vaivasvata Manu was the son of the Vivasvan or Surya. So that is how the entire lineage comes. And from him came all the Ikshvaku and the Karusha, Saryati, all those other lineage. In fact, Rama and others were the Ikshvaku Parampara, right? We've learned about that. So that is how the entire lineage comes. So it is a cyclic thing, to understand the big question in a short way. It's cyclic. I can show you an interesting chart to understand the timeline, because it is a little, huge numbers. It might be easy if you see it. So what I have here is the Manvantara, I was telling you, has a huge duration in terms of solar years, 306,720,000. That's what I explained earlier. And in terms of Deva Kala, it is a little different. 360, by 360 will be the Deva years that we get. And between each Manvantara, we have a pause also, which is called as a Sandhi Kala. Between the dawn and dusk, we have a small gap. So that is also documented here. So we are now in the 7th Manu, which is called as the Vaivasvata Manvantara. And imagine the amount of future prediction that has happened. They've also mentioned the names and the list of all the upcoming Manus, which is going to happen in the future. And now we are in the Kali Yuga part of the Chaturyuga cycle. We are in the 28th Chaturyuga cycle. We are still belonging to the Vaivasvata Manvantara. And we are in the Kali Yuga. So you can calculate the duration. Raj?
Raj, you're muted, Raj.
Yeah, no, I couldn't unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing, isn't it? So it's like almost millions and millions of years ago. So, and surprisingly, it's accurate in terms of numbers also. Very, very amazing information. Thank you.
Dhanyavadaha. So in fact, when we go through our scriptures, some of these information are like, oh my God, so much of future information is there. In fact, the Kalki Avatara, even a little kid in our country will know that that Avatara is yet to come. It's going to happen in Orissa. We know so many details about Kalki, the name of his wife, everything when we look into the Puranas. So such amazing information are there. And if we look at the information of the past, it actually matches so beautifully. So that's the beauty.
So that was fascinating information again, Guru. Who needs Google when you are around?
Narayana.
If there are any other questions, or can we move on to the end of the session?
I think, Rajiv Bhagini, do you have one more question? I would also like to touch a little bit on the symbolism of the Matsya Avatara if we don't have any more questions.
Yeah, the questions are over. We can talk. You can talk about the Sukshma.
Okay. So all of us saw this beautiful explanation of the Matsyavatara. There are a lot of learnings for us from this avatara. So I would just like to highlight a few, because it's a huge topic. Some certain important things which we can implement in our life and get benefited are those that I want to discuss here. One is Satyavrata, the king, was very pious. He was doing his rituals. He was a devotee of Bhagavan. All that is there. But what was important is he was so keen to keep up his word. Think about it. The little fish, wanted protection. And Satyavrata is a huge king who was ruling over this entire earth. Why would he care about a little fish? But then he said, no, I will protect it. And think of the efforts he took in order to ensure that what he promised, he actually wanted to uphold it. So he took the fish in his kamandalu. He actually went, dropped it in the well. Because the fish was growing, he actually ensured that he takes it to a different location. He kept moving it on. And whatever was in his capacity, he was attempting to do just because he wanted to ensure that the word that he had given, should be held. He did not want to, it's just a small fish. Why the hell should I care, right? That was not his attitude. So importance of vak, if we give a word, to what extent they actually, took efforts to ensure that this was taken care of. That is our heritage. That's a value system, which is actually a very important thing for us to observe. Yet another beautiful thing is Bhagavan tells us he wants protection. When Bhagavan says that he wants protection, it is a message for us saying that, please ask me to protect you. You need protection. So I am willing to pretend as if I need protection so that you will be protected by me. So Bhagavan does this leela. He grows. Satyavrata Raja is not able to understand that it is Bhagavan. So Bhagavan grows again. Satyavrata is still not able to understand. So Bhagavan takes so much of efforts to help us understand that, oh God, there is a power which is much bigger than me and I need to surrender even to protect that. Bhagavan, even to protect Bhagavan, I need to surrender to Bhagavan. And there is a bigger power than me all the time. So that concept of the protector seeking for protection is a very, very beautiful thing in Matsyavatara, where it shows that Bhagavan will go to any extent to ensure that we learn what we are supposed to learn. Starting from being a small fish all the way to growing and growing and growing, he takes all efforts to ensure that we get the learning the way we understand it. So this is yet another thing. One more thing is, this is not just in this avatara. As we progress in different avataras, we will be learning that this particular quality is seen in several different places in different, Puranas. For example, for Mahabali Chakravarti, Bhagavan goes and he asks Bali Chakravarti, saying that, can you please give me 3 feet of land, in my measurement? He is literally begging to a king. Should Bhagavan beg for anything? He is begging. And the final 3rd feet, there was absolutely no place, because with 1 feet, he measured everything which was below him. With the other feet, everything which was above. And there was absolutely no feet, no place at all. Now the Bali Chakravarti says, I have given a vak. That should not go wrong. Please do something. And he surrenders. Now Bhagavan accepts his surrender and places his feet on his head. But does Bali Chakravarti not get included when everything else is measured? It is, right? But Bhagavan is being so magnanimous and saying, okay, though entire, Swarga and all the other lokas happen to be in 1 feet, your head, I will take it as 1 more feet. So he accommodates just the head to be one of his 3rd feet so that Bali Chakravarti's words, are actually respected. Similarly, here, he takes the form of a very, very small fish. And then he takes the huge fish, which could carry the earth and everything required in its subtle form for the entire future creation with which we are living even today. As I said, today is we are just in the 28th cycle, right? So we are still continuing. So what kind of seeds, what kind of resources should have been carried? Bhagavan carried it. Initially, he was one small fish who could, just roll away from the hand of Satyavrata Raja. So Bhagavan becomes very small. He becomes very big, showing that Anoraniyan, Mahato Mahiyan, he is the smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest, subtler than the subtlest, huge whenever it's required. So whatever is required, Bhagavan takes those roles just to help us. So this is yet another very important thing where even to take the role of protecting Bhagavan, we have to surrender to him and take his protection. That's a beautiful thing that we have to understand. Bhagavan seeking protection. And yet another very, very interesting thing is the symbolism where Matsya was put in a small kamandalu, he outgrew. He was put in a well, he outgrew. He was put in a lake, he outgrew. Finally, he was bigger than the ocean to carry them all the way beyond the ocean to safer places, right? So this basically says that Kupa Manduka, basically we say, a frog within a well will know only what is around it. Now, Bhagavan usually teaches us by leading as an example. In fact, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita tells us that, you have to lead by example. He says that, I don't have anything to accomplish in any of the three worlds, but I still practice everything because whatever I do, everybody else will follow. So I should set the right example, says Bhagavan Krishna. So here, Matsya Avataram Murti leads us by example by expanding himself beyond what was available, beyond the scope. So in terms of knowledge, in terms of, gaining whatever is possible to enrich ourselves, sharing it with people, Bhagavan leads us by example. He grew beyond the well. Enhance yourself beyond the environment where you are. Put you in some other environment, grow beyond that. Put you in a different environment. So the ocean of knowledge knows no end, where you have to keep enhancing yourself more and more and more. So that is a very, very important symbolism of Matsya Avatara. Also, difficulties are there in plenty. The deluge itself is happening. What did Matsya Avatara Murti do? He protected, and he was the one who helped them cross the ocean and put them in a safe place. So we all are in this samsara sagara. We all are in the ocean of the samsara. So to cross the samsara, there are two things which are important. One is Satyavrata Raja had to take all his efforts to collect whatever was required to leave a legacy. He had to do his homework. He had to do his part. After that, Bhagavan came and Bhagavan supported, which is so symbolic here. And together he helped them cross the ocean. So for us, when we are here in this samsara sagara, we have to take all the efforts we can. If we take our efforts, Bhagavan will support us. And this is exactly what Bhagavan Krishna mentions in the very last sloka. If you look at the entire Bhagavad Gita, the concluding understanding told by Sanjaya at the end of Bhagavad Gita is, in fact, I have it right above me here. Etra Yogeshwara Krishna, etra Pato Dhanuddaraha, tatra Shrihi Vijayo Bhuti, Dhruvanitar Matir Mama. So wherever Bhagavan Krishna is there, Yogeshwaraha Krishnaha, etra Pato Dhanuddaraha, where the human effort of Arjuna is there, and Bhagavan Krishna's protection is there, there we will have Tatra Vijayaha, success will be there. Dhruva Nitihi, all righteousness will be there. Shrihi, every kind of prosperity will be there. So whatever is required can be accomplished when human effort and Bhagavan's protection is there. So here, Bhagavan could have done everything, but what did he do? He made Satyavrata do his homework. He gave him a week's time to do all what he had to do. After that, he ensured that his protection came to Satyavrata. And one more very important thing that we have to observe here is what Ninaji started this entire discussion with. She said, nothing can be accomplished without a team. And she started by thanking everybody who had contributed to this effort, right? We can see that in Matsyavatara. So Matsyavatara Murti protected Raja Satyavrata and his wife and the Saptarishis, along with everything else. So the Chetana and Achetana, living, non-living, knowledge, the items required, all the team that was required for the future continuity were protected. Only then the activity could go on. So this message is communicated. The importance of teamwork is also communicated in the Matsyavatara. So many brilliant things are established in Matsyavatara. In fact, we all know about Sahasranama Stotra, right? The Vishnu Sahasranama, which is recited by Bhishmacharya. Different acharyas have given very interesting explanations and interpretations regarding the names that appear in the Sahasranama Stotra. One such explanation is by a great acharya by name Parasara Bhatta. The Grantha is called as the Bhagavad Guna Darpanam, basically the reflection of Bhagavan's qualities. That's the name of the Grantha. So there, what he has beautifully done is, I explained about the 5 forms of Bhagavan, right? Para, Vyuha, Vibhava, Antaryami, Archa. All the 1,000 names of Bhagavan is classified as belonging to these 5 categories, including the 10 avatars in the Vibhava. So what the Parasara Bhatta Acharya has explained is the stotra, which explains about the Gurutamo Dhama Satya Satya Parakramaha Nimisho Nimishastvi Vachaspatirudaradhi. That sloka, which appears in the Sahasranama, actually explains about the Matsyavatara Murti. So there are many names which comes here. Because of want of time, I will explain just 4 important things which pertain to Matsyavatara in this. The first is Guru Tamo, right? Guru Tama. All the learnings for us comes from the Chaturmukha Brahma. And here all the scientists are gathered who are the Sapta Rishis, all the knowledge source. Veda could be understood as, the source code for this entire creation. So Bhagavan teaches the source code to Brahmadeva. And during this entire travel of the Yuga Sandhi time, Bhagavan had explained the Sankhya Yoga to the Saptarishis and to the Manu. So Bhagavan has become Guru Tamo. He has become the teacher of all the teachers in this Matsyavatara. So this beautiful name depicts Bhagavan as the highest preceptor who gives this knowledge transfer to everybody from whom we are going to get the knowledge in the future. Okay. Dhamma basically means it's a place of residence. So Bhagavan was actually the place of residence during this Dilanj, where he was carrying everything in the subtle form and both the moving and the non-moving things. And he was the place which was a place of safety where everything was resting on him. So that again is a very important aspect of the Matsyavatara. And then a very interesting term, Nimisho Animishaha, is used there, in the Sahasranama. Nimisha means his eyes are closed, okay, which means for those who don't seek his help, for those who think they can attempt it, he gives them an opportunity to attempt. He does not look at those who treat him as enemies, but he's Animishaha. Animishaha means his kataksha, his glance, always fall on those who seek his protection, who surrender to him. And Animisha also means the one who does not blink his eyes. And in our case, Matsyavatara has his eyes open. He never blinks. His eyes are always open. And the fishes, as we all know, do not go and feed their little ones. All the creatures usually feed their little ones, but fishes only see their little ones. So Bhagavan is animisha because he does not even blink his eyelids. He keeps seeing us, and that kataksha is sufficient for us to grow, align ourselves in the right direction, do whatever we need to, and it will help us grow in all ways that is required for us. So Bhagavan here, Matsyavatara's direct name is Animesha, which is explained in the Vishnu Sahasranama. So it shows about the Karuna Kataksha of Bhagavan, the divine grace of Bhagavan. And the final thing that we have to understand, which should not be missed by us, is the beautiful lotus eyes, which is the Bhagavan's unique quality, which is mentioned in this Vachaspati, Sragvi. So here, Bhagavan is the Lord of speech, which is Vachaspati, because he procured all the Vedas and he gave it. Bhagavan is got these beautiful eyes, right? He's the Karuna Kataksha, which I said, is coming from his eyes. And one of the unique qualities of Bhagavan is the way he looks, the eyes, which can never be replicated by anybody. So that lotus eyes is what all the devotees are always look forward to. And in the Matsya Avatara, the stotra which was recited today from the Dashavatara stotra, Nirmagna Shruti Jala Margana Dasa Dattakshanai Vikshanaihi, with that lotus eyes, Bhagavan plunges into the water, looks into every single part of the water as to where the Vedas are hidden by the Asura Hayagriva. So when he is doing that, his eyes are like the lotus and he's looking so fast, he's so huge that, when the fan runs, we don't see the blade, we just see it running fast, right? Similarly, lotus is seen everywhere because of the speed at which Bhagavan is looking, and the water appears as if it is a place filled with a forest of lotus flowers. So let that eyes, that Karuna Kataksha, which looks like the forest of lotus, protect all of us, because that eyes is what we all need, is what is mentioned in this Dashavatara Stotra of Swami Vedanta Deshika. So that is what was recited by us today during the session's start also. So these are some of the unique aspects of Bhagavan, and I just touched on some of the Sushma aspects. So we can worship Bhagavan in this beautiful Matsya Avatara form. We usually get to learn more about Rama, Krishna and other avatars, and we don't get a chance to enjoy the avatara. So this is an effort by us to help all of us relish Bhagavan in his different rupas, because Bhagavan took it for us. In fact, we are here today in this Vaivasvata Manvantara because Bhagavan protected everything in its subtle form. And it happened very much in South India, Bharata Desha, where Madurai, Vaigai River, we have to know about it, be proud of our lineage and all the great work done by the Acharyas. If possible, all of us should also go and worship the Dashavatara Sannidhi in Srirangam, where Bhagavan is still waiting for us in all these 10 different forms. Jai Shri Krishna.
That was fascinating information, Guru. I mean, we knew so little about everything, but I think this morning has truly been, my eye-opener for me. And I'm so touched by all the little information that you have given us. And everything that we do has so many layers to it. That's what we realize, When we're looking at the Matsya Avatar, we're only looking at the huge form of it, but there are so many layers to it, and which you explained so beautifully, starting from the simplicity to the humility and the surrender. I think these are aspects which all of us have to follow in our daily life, and especially I think the lockdowns and the COVID, which has hit us in the recent times, is like a lesson in itself, isn't it? And like Jnana is about yesterday is equal to tomorrow. That's what it's all about. Yesterday is equal to today, tomorrow. These are the lessons that we have to learn from the past. And the past has also taught us that, we do not come by ourselves. We're surrounded by everything, ecology, flora, fauna, and then we have to all exist in peace so that, there's a peaceful living for everyone. Do we again require Bhagwan to come down is the question that we'll need to end the session with. Only thing he's expecting us to do when he gives us this beautiful form is to live joyfully, to live peacefully, and to live equally with everyone else, and to enjoy what he has given us, because this is a natural form he has given us of enjoyment. But what do? We overtake it with different kind of, the nasty kind of characters that creep into us, whether it is greed or lust or anything that you call, and then we become blind to everything. So the only way forward, I think, is to, and we have noticed again, the tsunamis, the floods, everything that happens around us is because of our own making. I would like to end the session by, thanking Bhagwan for giving us this beautiful life. And the only thing we can do in return is to live consciously and mindfully and in gratitude. Thank you so much, Guru.
Jai Shri Krishna. Let's conclude with our concluding prayers as usual. Kayena vacha manasendriyaiva buddhyatmana va prahride svabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayami. Achyutaya namaha, anantaya namaha, govindaya namaha. Achyutaya namaha, anantaya namaha, govindaya namaha. Achyutaya namaha, anantaya namaha, govindaya namaha. Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Shri Krishna.